Hello, today I'm going to talk to you all about the refugees that have fled their home countries and are now resettled in Turkey. And my name is Elise Murphy. Some strengths that the country of Turkey has is they're newly industrialized, they're an upper middle class income in terms of country's per capita GDP. Their solid public finances, well capitalized and well regulated banking sector and dynamic. Their diversified private business sector. They're famous for their beautiful textiles such as Tulu. This is an amazing shop with a myriad of colorful goods. Some weaknesses or struggles that this country has is it has horrible air pollution, their waste disposal is awful, it's very noisy, there's minimal available water, there's land degradation, and a very high unemployment rate. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about Turkey's refugee movement. Turkey is a part of a pattern established during the European refugee crisis, and this is where large groups of refugees from other continents and countries use Turkey as they call it a transit country during the major refugee flows that began in the mid-20th century. Part of this crisis in Turkey, they received refugees from Iran and Iraq War, Iranian Revolution, Gulf War, war in Afghanistan, and Syrian War. When trying to manage this crisis, Turkey passed a law of foreigners and international protection and the temporary protection. That was like Turkey's barrier to stop smuggling and security and involved ceasefires in Syria, which helped establish safe zones in order to help halt the fighting. Turkey has become one of the world's largest country host for refugees. More than 3.6 million of an estimated 4 million refugees that have sought safe haven in Turkey are from neighboring war-torn in Syria. So the refugees were forced to leave their homes for a bunch of different reasons, but some of the main reasons were wars such as the Iran and Iraq War, Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan, the Syrian Civil War, and the Iranian Revolution. So about these wars, just so you guys can be familiarized with what these wars were. The Iran and Iraq War began in September of 1980 when Iraq invaded Iran, and it ended on August 20th, 1988 when Iran accepted the UN brokered ceasefire. The Iranian Revolution, this is a series of events that culminated in the overthrow of the Pahlavi dynasty under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The Gulf War, this is an international conflict that was triggered by Iraq's invasion on August 2nd, 1990. The war in Afghanistan, this was a war designed to capture, kill Osama bin Laden, as well as to replace the Taliban with a U.S.-friendly government. The Syrian Civil War, this is an ongoing multi-sided civil war fought between Syrian Arab Republic led by Syrian president along with the domestic and foreign allies and various domestic and foreign forces. Here I just made a list of a lot of the refugee camps in Turkey where almost all of the refugees stayed at these places. Here I just showed what a few of the refugee camps actually looked like. They were super small. All the tents within the camps were super close together, and a camp actually flooded one time, and I think about 6 refugees actually died from that. Here is a picture of the Turkey fact sheet done. Information is from the UN Refugee Agency, and I thought this was just very interesting because it says some facts, shows the population breakdown of where the refugees are coming from, how much funding they've gotten, and there's a breakdown of refugees per province. So I thought that was just would be a good thing to show. So I wanted to talk about Relief International in Turkey. This is an organization that began working in Turkey in 2013 with the focus on providing medical service and water trucking across the southern border into Syria. But as the Syrian crisis expanded to impact the country's neighbors, so they had their programs meet to growing needs in Turkey itself. They support both the refugee population and vulnerable members of the communities that host them. Mental health services are one of the greatest needs among displaced Syrians. Relief International provides counseling and specialized support to children and adults suffering from these hidden wounds of war at more than 10 centers across Turkey. It's not a lot, but anything helps and anything counts. 1.5 million people in Syria are currently living with permanent impairments, including over 80,000 who have lost limbs. They support 6 comprehensive rehabilitation centers that specialize in providing prosthetics and physical therapy for Syrians with disabilities, and they also provide, like I said earlier, mental health counseling. I wanted to talk a little bit about host country versus home country, and that'd be Turkey versus Syria. Turkey shares the largest common border with Syria. Various geographic and historical links also tie the two countries together. There's traditionally tense relationships between Turkey and Syria, and that's been due to disputes including the annexation of Hatay province to Turkey in 1939, water disputes resulting from the southeastern Anatolia project, and Syria's support for the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Me being a social work major, it isn't important to think about if I were in these situations and I was trying to help these refugees, what I would do to help. So what I would do is I'd support in whatever way I can, help them with their first needs, and just assist and ensure their safety, permanency, and well-being. A lot of refugees are dealing with basic needs such as food, water, and shelter, so doing whatever I can to help with that. Advocate for better resources for the refugees to showing new arrivals around the camp to provide emotional support and just make them feel more comfortable. Helping refugees access health services and trying to reunite them with family members as best as I could. Thank you all for such a great year. This class was truly enjoyable. I hope you all enjoyed my presentation and hope you are all doing well and staying safe during this awful pandemic. Thank you.